Hello students, today's topic is the third world, and this is a very important topic of your course. And before discussing about North-South dialogue, you have to understand the concept of third world, and you can expect questions on third world also. So let us discuss about that today. So, to first we have to look into the concept. What is the meaning of third world? Uh, we often use the word third world, first world, second world. So, what is the meaning of these terms, or specifically, what is the meaning of third world? So, let us see what is the meaning of the word. So the first thing is that the concept of third world owes its origin to a French demographer Alfred Sauvy, who he used it in one of his articles in 1952, and soon after its use by the French demographer, its use became fashionable with other scholars also. That means others also started to use the term in like in articles, in papers, in academic exercises. Now, within a decade of its birth, by the beginning of 60s, it acquired the acceptability as a widely used concept in international relations. So the term became very popular after its usage in 1952. Now, it has been used as a synonym for various phases like underdeveloped countries, less developed countries, developing countries, former colonies, the South, or have not nations, or the rest of the earth, and so on. So, it has been used as synonym to all these phrases or all these terms. And the concept was advanced to represent those nations which were not a part of the Cold War. Now, Cold War was between two great powers, or two great power blocks of the world. That is the developed world and the not the developed world, but it was ideological mainly. So it was between the first world and the second world mainly. That means capitalist bloc and the socialist bloc. So the first world here, the term comes first world. First world means Western industrialized and non-communist nations, and the second world means the socialist nations. So the countries which were not a part of either of these two groups or either of these two worlds, those were marked as the third world. And its emergence as an entity heralded a new era in international relations. And the interesting thing is that the dyadic balance of world relations was transformed into triadic balance. That means the world till then, world was or the balance of the world was done by two power blocks. Now, with the advent of the third world category, or the third world countries, the balance is between three groups. So it became triadic from the dyadic balance. And today, the third world is considered as an essential part, and both for the study and conduct of international relations. Now, the concept of the third world was used to describe a group of ex-colonial countries, or economically weak countries, or politically fragile countries, or less developed, less industrialized, or technologically deprived nations of the world. Some like geographically, the world which or the deprived nations of the world which were geographically spread on the territories of Asia, Africa, and Latin America. These countries are also, like most of these countries, or almost all the countries situated in these regions, they are termed as, or they are grouped as, they are categorized as, or they are conceptualized as the third world countries. Now, almost all the third world nations of today were the colonies of the past, and they were given the status of independent nation states in the post Second World War period. The process of this decolonization, which was started in the aftermath of Second World War, was and which reached its supposed culmination in the 70s. It resulted in adding a large number of new states into the community of independent nation states. And these nations, in contrast to the geographic location of the first and the second worlds, are situated in the southern hemisphere. So the underdeveloped countries, these are these are constituting the global south. Now these things we will be discussing while when we discuss about the North-South dialogue. So for now, South means the underdeveloped world and North means the developed world. So the third world nations, again, they are different from both the first world and consisting of the industrially advanced liberal democracies of the West, and the second world consisting of industrially developed authoritarian socialist democracies of the East in their socio-economic development also. So this is third world in a nutshell. So this is the concept of third world. Now let us move on to the features of third world. Now what are the features? We have chalked down some these few features. So the first feature is that the colonial past. Now let us explain what does it mean. Now regarding colonial past, almost all the third world countries have a colonial past. They share a common history of being under domination of the colonial power, that means the British power. Now the prosperity of European empire was at the cost of the exploitation of these countries, these colonized countries. And the third world countries relate with one another through this common legacy because they all were under the British domination at some point or the other. So they relate with one another with this common colonial legacy, and they attempt to guard their independence and try to strive towards development these days. Now the next feature is technological backwardness. Now, in developing countries, we all know production techniques are inefficient over a wide range of industrial activity. And this sorry state of affairs cannot be explained in terms of one or two factors. It is very complex. So, lack of research and development, R&D, which, the abbreviated form is R&D. So, lack of R&D, weak communication system between the research institutes and the industries, then the abundance of labor and capital scarcity. These are some obvious reasons for the use of techniques which have otherwise become obsolete. Now, developing countries generally, they do not have large effective institutions working for discovering appropriate technology. And under the circumstances, an attempt is made to import technology from the developed countries who are having those technologies. Now, but this import of technologies from the developed countries, the developing countries, the thing is that they import technologies, but they often fails to adopt to the technologies. The technologies fail to adapt to local conditions. And moreover, whatever limited research is undertaken in industrial technology, its results fail to reach the producers due to weak communication system. So this is a very big problem. Now the next feature is that high levels of unemployment and underemployment. Now what is that? Now, unemployment in both rural and urban areas is widespread in developing countries. Now the traditional agriculture characterized by outmoded techniques of production and the low level of productivity lacks labor absorption capacity. Okay. Now thus with rapidly growing population in these countries, pressure of population on agricultural land has been increasing, and with it the problem of disguised unemployment is becoming increasingly serious. Now, rural people are aware of this malady, and therefore quite often they migrate to the cities, which is called urban migration. Now, why they migrate? They migrate in search of jobs where not many employment opportunities exist for them. Now, in developing countries, markets for manufacturers are quite small due to widespread poverty, and faced with the problems of lack of adequate demand, or industries grow at a snail pace, and that is why they fail to provide jobs in sufficient number to absorb the growing population, and that is the basic reason for the high levels of unemployment in developing countries or in the third world countries. Now, the next feature is that great dependence on agriculture. Now, we all know that the third world economies, they are basically agrarian in their character. So, most of the larger share of the population, they are dependent on agriculture and less on the industries. And this is not a sign of proper development in third world countries. Now, the next point is high rate of population growth and dependency burdens in the third world countries, which is common. Now, population has been rising in most developing countries, and due to increased medical facilities, there has been a sudden decline in the mortality rates in these countries. And a high rate of population growth in the third world countries, it is both a cause and effect of their underdevelopment. So it's a chain. So these are related. One is one problem is inviting another problem. Now, a major implication of high birth rates in developing countries is that it results in a great dependency burden than that in developed countries. Okay, so this is another serious problem faced by the third world countries. Now, next is larger income inequalities. Now, in the third world countries, apart from GNP, that is gross national product, per capita being considerably lower, income inequalities are also larger than in developed countries. That means there is the gap is huge between the rich and the poor. Now, next point is low levels of productivity. Now, labor productivity in developing countries is invariably low. It is both a cause and an effect of low levels of living in these countries. Now, labor productivity depends on a number of factors, like particularly the availability of other inputs to be combined with labor, health and skill of workers, motivation for work and institutional flexibilities. The two inputs, namely capital and managerial skill, raise the productivity of labor considerably when they are combined with it. But developing countries or the third world countries, they lack both of these inputs. So this results in their low levels of productivity. Now, next feature is widespread poverty, which is a very serious issue in almost all the third world countries, developing countries or the underdeveloped countries. Now, the extent of absolute poverty is an important dimension of the problem of income distribution in the developing countries. At relatively lower levels of GNP per capita, large income inequalities as they exist in the developing countries of Asia, Africa and Latin America, they have resulted in widespread poverty. The poverty problem could perhaps be overcome in these countries with a more equitable income distribution, and in the absence of and because this is absent, poverty is very much there in these countries. Now, next feature is lower participation in foreign trade. Now, it is commonly believed that developing countries rely excessively on foreign trade. On careful scrutiny, this widespread belief is found to be wrong. They are not that. Now, in fact, the inadequate development of transportation system and trade organization and backwardness of production technology are some such factors that would make large exports and imports impossible almost in these third world countries. Okay, so the next and the last but not the least feature of third world is dependence. Now, what is that? The process of underdevelopment in the Asian, African, and Latin American countries had begun with the integration of their economies with those of the West European capitalist economies. Okay. Now, this relationship between the colonies and the metropolitan countries, that means the developed countries, gave rise to an international division of labor, which allowed industrial development to take place only in the later. Okay. So, though the economies of the colonies remained very backward, yet they were part of the world capitalist system. Now, on the other hand, colonies depend on the metropolitan or the developed countries for almost all the capital goods, industrial raw materials, and most of the manufactured consumer goods, while on the other hand, their exports constituted of one or two primary products. So, these are some of the essential features of the third world, and these features more or less, I'm not saying that all these are present in all the third world countries of Asia, Africa, and Latin America, but among these features, most of them you will find most of them existing in these countries, these developing countries, underdeveloped countries, or the third world countries. And they are more or less present in these countries in almost in the same shape or form. So this is third world countries in a nutshell. Prepare them well. This is a very important part and topic of your syllabus. So read it and prepare it well. Now, here are some references. You can refer them while you will prepare your answer for this topic. So, these are very important reference. Some are books, some are sites, some are videos, so educational videos. So refer to all this if you want to, and all the best for your exams, coming exams. And thank you, a very big thank you for your patient hearing. Thank you very much.